G'day, Nick here, Animal Engineering. Welcome back to the channel. This episode we'll be carrying on the side panels of the van. If you've seen the last episode, we've done the bottom repair section here on the other side. I've gone ahead and off camera and I've done this side, same as what I've done the other side, so I just sort of bashed it out. In this episode we will be putting a Servery door here and then getting this side fully welded back onto the van. There's a fair bit involved. Where we are, this all has to get engineered. So basically I've got to do all the framing, get it tacked up, and then it's tacked form before it's welded. Then you get down to the engineer, get that signed off before we fully weld it out. So the plan here is a lot of them have the hatches come up like that. But I feel that once this is slammed down on airbags, the top section here where it's going to be going up is going to be sort of about there on your head, so you'll be feeling like you want to duck from it. So plan is to do two doors that swing out that way and come around and back onto the van, and I'll probably have some blackboard paint or something on there that you can write stuff on, you know, menus and bits and pieces like that. So that is the plan. So yeah, we'll get the side panel off and then we'll make a start on trying to work out how we're going to do these doors. So essentially the doors will be in this square here. That centre bit of the framework is going to have to get chopped out, and then we need to make a good solid frame to go back in there. But it's got to get engineered and signed off, so it's got to be pretty good. What I've got hinge wise, hinges, I've got these stainless and plastic hinges, but these, see, they go like that, and they go all the way back. So they go all the way 180 degrees, so that will allow the door to be closed and then swing all the way around to the side of the van. So they should look pretty good in there. And then I've got these slam latches, so basically you just shut the door, they'll click in, and there'll be two of them, one top and bottom. So we have to make a recess for them to go into. It should be pretty good. So let's have a bit of a think about it and work out how I'm going to do this, and we'll get back. Alrighty, well, I've been at it for a little while. I've got a few sort of pieces made up for the hinges. So a little recess there. Hinge will sit inside them, inside the frame. The main frame bit that's actually going to weld to the side of the van. So I've used 3mm plate, 1/8 inch. Should be plenty solid enough. So I'll take a fair bit of abuse on the top and bottom rail with these slam latches heading on it, so I didn't want to use anything thinner really. I want to make sure it's super strong. The last thing you want to do is make it weak. So best to over-engineer it, especially when someone else is going to sign off on it too. So we'll go through now, we'll get all this tacked up, ready to put in the van. Alrighty, well there you go, making some pretty good progress. That's the main frame that's going to go into the van done. So we've got the hinges in there, they're all looking nice and flush. So now, next stage is going to make up the two doors. I'm going to do it all on the bench so I get it all nice and level and good, and keep it all nice and square. I've got to cut a section out to go in for some rubber seal. So I just been down to Clark rubber and got some rubber seal that'll go on there. So yeah, it's going good. Yeah, we'll hit the old notepad and the plasma table and we'll get some more bits cut out. So we've got that seal in there and it's looking pretty good. I can now work out the height that seal's taking up in the actual jamb and work out the thickness for my doors. So yeah, we'll pull some measurements off and we'll draw up some doors. We've been jamming away here for a while now. Got these pieces all made. I've got to It bowed out a bit when I've done this welding on the inside, but I just give it a bit of a tap with the old knock-on to get that straight again. But so I've got some 3mm plate in there, drilled and tapped for the hinges. Now I've probably gone and overcomplicated this thing by a fair margin, I'd say, but these are the centre pieces. So you see a bit of a funky old shape there, but the plan is that they will overlap one on top like that. So when you're driving forward, the air's going this way rather than just having like a square butt there, where I guess water's got more of a chance of getting in. I don't know, possibly not. But yes, that'll have a little bit of weather stripping on there, so when they close it'll seal up. Now it's just a matter of going through and putting a mitre, which is going to be a bit of a challenge in itself. We've got to get that to go like 90 degree that way. So a few wild little cuts in there, but we'll get there. So we'll go through, do that, and then that'll be the door side of things finished. Use a die grinder and little bits of shit. Something stuck in my hand somewhere. Okay, well, fast forward a little bit, jumping ahead a few steps here of where we are at the moment, is we've got the doors all made, they're all in here hinged up. The most complicated doors that don't need to be complicated. You see they open all the way back, so they go 180 degrees back, and the plan is I'm going to have some magnets in here, so when they open they just go back and magnet onto the side of the van. I've got some pretty gnarly magnets actually, so that should be good. I won't have to put any ugly latches or anything on the side of the van, which I don't want at all, not even a little bit. So you see, worked pretty good. Before actually cutting the side of the van and tacking this in, is I've got to work out a nice way to install these slam latches. So basically, on this door we have two, because this one is closing over top of the other one. I need to find a nice way of doing it. So I reckon I can do the top nicely, so from the inside of the van it's going to look quite nice, and I should be able to hide this so it's just the handle. Rightio, well there you have it. It's got the lateral installed. So basically that door is tacked up, finished, ready to go. We end up just going with the one latch, because the doors are so overbuilt really, they're pretty solid, so there's no flex in them. So I think one handle should do the job. Ooh. Bear, please. Should do the job nicely. Nice satisfying click there. So now, next mission is mark up the side of the van here, the frame. We'll cut out the pieces that we don't need, which is this piece along here, and we're going to have to do a bit of trimming on both edges here as well. So we'll trim that out and then we'll get that piece all tacked in, and then it should be off to the engineer to hopefully sign off. There you go, that's all tacked into the van now, it's all working nice and good. So, yes, in a couple of seconds, when we edit this up, if I come back and I've got a big smile on my face, it's because the engineers signed off on this. So basically, as I said earlier, just tack it in. I'm going to take it down, get him to have a look at it. If he's happy with it, he'll tick a box, and then we can come back and fully weld the thing out. So, fingers crossed. Happy days. Back to the engineer down Packard Automotive in Jandakot, and he's happy with the door and the frame and everything, so we can now continue, fully weld it out, dress it all up, and then we can get this side panel back on the van, which is pretty cool. Well, there you go, a couple of hours later, it's all welded up, ground up, cleaned up. So I think the next step is I'm going to make up the sheets that'll go on the doors, and then once I've got them made up, we'll whip out the old paint gun, give everything a bit of an epoxy prime, and then once the doors and everything are primed up, we can chuck the old side sheet back on. Another big step. Another step in the right direction, so we'll work out what we're going to do on these doors. I think the inside, so the inside piece here, I think I'm going to drill and tap, I'm going to have like a whole lot of dome head bolts, just so we can get access into the hinges. Well, that was a lot of drilling and tapping and drilling again, but that's one side of one door done. So now, see a nice little slot in there. The handle operates how it should. So yeah, pretty happy with how that's come up as well. Just need to do the exact same thing on the other door, and then we'll move on to the other side of the door. So the other side of the door, I'm just going to do a simple piece, fold it over the edges, and then weld that on. Rightio, we'll fast forward to the next day. Just been and done a couple of little repairs. This piece on top of this opening, that was a bit flogged out, so just welded a patch in there, filled up a couple of holes down the bottom here, same as on the other side where I think it had that bumper rail type thing originally. So I've been through, filled them in. Got that frame into epoxy last night, as well as got the doors and these cover pieces, got them into epoxy as well. So now my next mission is to work out where I'm going to cut this hole and then tip a flange in that can weld into the frame. So maybe a bit of a mission. Just got to have to get on the inside, try and clamp it up to the frame, get on the inside, mark it out, pull it back off the van, tip those flanges, bring it back, put it on. Let's throw a couple of tacks on there. Yeah. Once that flange is tipped, I'll go through, give it another coat of epoxy and a bit of a touch up in a few spots. Let that dry, and then we'll bring it back and we'll weld it onto the van. And then should be this side done. Pretty cool. I say, it's the first time the side's been on the van for a long time. Ooh-wee. She's coming together. Alrighty, well, after a bit of prep work and just painting and whatnot, I've got the side panel there. That's got about 3 coats of epoxy on it, and then I've been through and ground back to steel all the spots that's going to have welds going to it, and put weld through primer on there. Also been through, you can see, got the side of the van all prepped up, the frame, got this lovely rainbow foam on there again. Same thing, this has got about 3 coats of epoxy. Some parts of the frame I've probably got about 5 or 6 on them by now. Every time I finish doing this thing I just give it a quick little spray. So that's all pretty good. Same thing, been through, ground back to bare steel where all the plug welds and that are going to be, all along the top. So yeah, we're good to go. It'll be the same thing as in the last episode when I've done the other side on the van. I'll just sort of get it back on there using all the clear coats, get it back into the same position it came off in, and then we'll buzz around the outside and along the middle here with the MIG, burn those plug welds in, and then in the door here in the frame I'll switch over to the TIG and I'll use that to just do some nice little tacks all the way around there. Probably not really a great deal in filming that again, sort of filmed it doing the other side, so I'll just go through, clamp it all up, get that all welded on, and then we'll cut back like 1 second, it'll be done. Alrighty, well there you go, that's the side welded back onto the van, all looking Mickey Mouse. Yeah, it went on pretty easy really, I guess we've done the other side, it was fairly straightforward, so that's all welded on. I've been through and I've masked up all around and painted. So it all up over the top and around the back where the quarter panel is going to sit over. Went through, cleaned all that up, got that into some epoxy primer, and then went through with some seam sealer. I put the seam sealer on there just so the moisture can't get in between these 2 panels again. There was nothing there before, so it's all been sandblasted, it's cleaned, painted, so try and protect it from future moisture. So yeah, we'll go through, get it all sanded up, cleaned up. Probably going to have to give it another coat of 2-pack epoxy primer, because no doubt I'm going to probably sand through that, that's what's there. And I've been through and I've painted the doors, so all this up here, everywhere, that's like white. Not the inside of the van is going a different colour, but just the bits out here where you're actually going to see from the outside of the van. Went to S&S Industries in Midvale, sort of get all my paint and stuff from there, pretty good in there. And I took a bit of the old rusty steel that had been converted, just as a bit of a sample, went through all their colour charts, and I sort of found this colour here. Ooh. So, as I sort of said earlier in the video, the front side of these doors will get wrapped in a print of the side of the van, so it'll blend in. But then obviously the sides and that, I can't really get it to wrap around, so what we'll be seeing will be this colour, so it's some kind of, it's a Nissan Infinity or something, I don't know. I think that's what it was, but it's done as a matte finish, not glossy. So having everything glossy on the outside will just look terrible, absolute shit house. So got that there, so I've got to use that on the doors. The cover panels on the other side are going to get done in blackboard paint, and then yeah, we'll paint around the other stuff and then get the doors on. That'll be this side done. Feels like I've been working at this for months. I went through my phone, it was 6 months ago that I took the roof off. Which is a bit ridiculous really, to be honest. It's taking a lot longer than it should. But, just doing it on my spare time. Get through it, so I'll go through, sand that up, get it all painted, get the doors on, and we'll see you in a second. Alrighty, well there you have it, the doors are all on, painted, finished, well, not finished. These hinges I got are absolute rubbish. I kind of knew they were, but I was just being cheap. But yeah, they're kind of You see, oh, I don't know if you can quite see there, but they're just sort of this plastic, just garbage. They're not really what I thought I was actually buying originally. They were sort of sold as stainless hinges. Absolute crap. There's no adjustment in them. But for the time being, the doors are on there. They look pretty good. Woo! So at some point in the future, I'm going to get some better hinges for it and come back and revisit it and fix it. But for the moment, I'm just going to leave it all that because I just want to get the roof back on this thing. Just keep moving forward and get to that goal. And grand scheme of things, I can come back to this later on. But yeah, the overall look of the door, this handle and the chalkboard paint and everything, I'm very happy with how it's come up. Yeah, so having that flush with the outside of the van and the inside of the van, I think all the little extra work and making these doors tapered out and fitting good was worth it. Most of the time you just see people just slap like a flat door in and it either looks crap on the outside or crap on the inside. But I think that's where we'll leave it for this episode. Ooh. I think that's where we'll leave it for this episode. Ooh. Yeah, obviously, like I said, we get a wrap for that so it ties in, but there you go. Another side done. So on the next episode, we will be tackling both rear quarter panels. So yeah, we'll leave it there. Got the beer hole. Happy days. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode. We tackle this rear end.